Hearty good morning to all of you. Children, you know language is surely the best gift to mankind. It is something which helps us to communicate effectively. A lot can be conveyed in one expression and the focus can be shifted by changing the position of the words. That is what we are going to learn today. Now I am giving you a sentence. See this sentence. Shruti writes a letter. Children, can you tell me what is Shruti in this sentence? Yes, you are right. Shruti is the subject or the doer of this action, that is writes. And action is writes. So you know very well that what is writes? Yes, it is our verb. Now the question arises, what is a letter? Children, can you tell me? No, no problem. Letter is our object. Do you know what is an object? An object is a noun. It may be a pronoun or a noun phrase on which a verb performs an action, and this object may be direct or indirect. See this sentence. Mayank repaired my car. Next sentence, my car was repaired by Mayank. Both the sentences are same in meaning, but the context changes in the first sentence. Subject Mayank is given more importance and we get to know that he is the person who is performing the repair activity on the car, which is our object. In the second sentence, we are giving more importance to the object car and the action performed by the subject rather than subject itself. We generally use active voice, but there are two reasons to use passive voice. Do you know when to use passive voice? Yes, very first, when you do not know the subject, and second thing, when you want to focus on the action and object rather than who did it. There are two ways in which we describe an action performed by the subject in relation with the object. Very first, active voice. Here subject performs the action and object receives the action. And in passive voice, an action is the subject performed on the object. There are two ways in which we describe an action performed by the subject in relation with the object. First, active voice. Here subject performs an action and object receives the action. Whereas in passive voice, an action is performed on the object by the subject. Children, see, I am telling you what is actually active voice. Active voice indicates that the subject of the verb is acting or performing an action. And what is passive voice? Passive voice is used when the subject is the recipient of an action or the receiver of an action. Now I am telling you some certain rules. With the help of these rules, you can convert active voice into passive voice. So listen it very carefully. Very first, the subject becomes object and object becomes subject in passive voice. Second rule, never change the tense. If active voice is in present tense, the passive voice will always be in present tense. Third thing, the verb in passive voice will always be in the third form of the verb, whether the sentence is in present form or in past form or in the future tense. See more examples. First is, the professor teaches the students. Now you have to change this sentence into passive voice. Very first, in this sentence, you will find out the subject, verb and an object. See, the professor. The professor is what? Yes, it is our subject. And what is verb? Professor teaches. What action is done by the professor? Teaches. So teaches is our verb. And what is the students? The students is our object. Now how do we convert it into passive form? The students, we put object in place of subject. So the students are. Then what is the third form of the verb teaches? Taught. Yes, the students are taught by the professor. Now here you are seeing by. By we use along with the doer. Another example, Edison invented the light bulb. This example is in active voice. So how do we convert it into passive voice? Very first we will put the object. And what is our object? The light bulb. So we will start the light bulb. Now we will use helping verb, that is was. Then third form of the verb, invented by Edison. So the correct formation is the light bulb was invented by Edison. Another example, Eiffel designed the Eiffel Tower. Now, while changing into passive voice, we will start with an object. That is, the Eiffel Tower was, then third form of the verb designed is designed by Eiffel. Egyptians built the pyramids of Giza. Now you change? Yes, you are right. We will start with an object, that is the pyramids of Giza. Then we will use the helping verb, that is were. Why we are using here verb? Were because it is in plural form. So the pyramids of Giza were built by Egyptians. Now we do practice with these sentences and you will give me answer. Video is part 2, voices. Do you remember what we learned in the first video? Yes, we learned that there are two ways in which we describe an action performed by the subject in relation with the object. First is active voice, where subject performs an action and object receives the action. Sentence structure is subject, action and object. Second is passive voice, in where an action is performed on the object by the subject, and the structure is object, action and subject. Object plus helping verb plus third form of the verb plus by plus subject. So remember it properly. See the example. Mayank repaired my car. What will be the answer? My car was repaired by Mayank. 5 steps are here to change active voice into passive voice. Very simple steps are there. Very first, see subject and main verb in any sentence. Second, swap subject with the object and object with the subject. Third thing, convert the main verb into the third form of the verb. Fourth step, add a proper helping verb before the main verb. And fifth is, add preposition by before the subject. So at the end, the sentence structure of passive voice will be object plus helping verb plus third form of the verb plus by plus subject. So these are the very simple 5 steps which you have to follow while changing active voice into passive voice. When replacing the subject which is a pronoun to object, the conversion will be like this. I change into me, he changes into him, she changes into her, we changes into us and they changes into them. we need to add a proper helping verb to be before the main verb. This helping verb is decided based on tenses. So here we are taking an example of write. Now see the table of the tenses. In very first tense, simple present tense. In active voice, we use verb write and writes. And in passive voice, it will become we use helping verb is, am, are, and the third form of the verb write is written. Then second tense is present continuous tense. In active voice, we will use is, am, are, writing. And while changing into passive voice, what we write is, am, are, be verb, B-E-I-N-G, being, and the third form of the verb that is written. In present perfect tense, in active voice, we use has or have written, and while changing into passive voice, what we write has or have been written. Then we will take simple past tense. In simple past tense, we always use second form of the verb. So we write wrote in active voice, and while changing into passive voice, we will write was, were, written. Then past continuous tense. In active voice, we will use was and were and writing. And while changing into passive voice, what we write was, were, then being, then written. In past perfect tense, in active voice, we write had written. And while changing into passive voice, what we write had been written. Then simple future tense. In active voice, we will use will, write, and in passive voice, what we write will be written. Then we will take future perfect tense. In future perfect tense, we use in active voice will have written, and while changing into passive voice, what we write will have been written. Now you must have noticed that we don't use four tenses while converting active voice into passive voice. Present perfect continuous tense, or we can say progressive tense, past perfect continuous tense, then future perfect continuous tense, future continuous tense, and the sentences which have in transit. This video is voice part 3, and today we will discuss about the tenses. So very first we will take present indefinite tense. Very first I want to tell you that this tense is used for scientific facts, permanent truths, habitual or the customary actions, and we use this tense for future reference. And while changing into passive voice, what we do in this tense? In present indefinite tense, we use is, am, are as a helping verb before the third form of the verb or before the main verb. See the example. They learn many foreign languages. This sentence is in present indefinite tense, and while changing into passive voice, what we have to do? Very first we have to put the object in place of subject. So what is our object? Many foreign languages. Then what helping verb we will use? Yes, are. Why? Because it is in plural form. Many foreign languages are. Then third form of the verb learn is learnt by them. So correct formation is many foreign languages are learnt by them. See the another example. Children like the game of cricket. So what is our object in this sentence? Yes, you are right. The game of cricket. The game of cricket. Then what verb we will use? Is. Third form of the verb like is liked. So the game of cricket is liked by children. Now we will take past indefinite tense. And where we use past indefinite tense? Past indefinite tense is used to talk about an activity that began and ended at a particular time in the past. And what is the formation of this tense? In past indefinite, we use was, were as a helping verb before the third form of the verb or before the main verb. See the example. The nurse looked after the patients. So this sentence is in active voice. While changing into passive voice, what we have to do? Very first we will put the object in place of subject. So we start the patients. Now what verb we use? As it is the past indefinite tense, so we use were. The patients were looked after by the nurse. Second sentence, the boy caught the thief. So what is our object? Yes, the thief. What verb we will write? Was. The thief was caught by the boy. Our next tense is future indefinite tense. And do you know where we use this tense? This tense is used to make predictions about the future or about people's plan. And it is also used for promises or on the spot decisions. What is the formation of this tense? In future indefinite tense we use be after the modal verbs, and modal verbs are will and shall, and then we use third form of the verb. Now see the example. The chairman will distribute the prizes. So what is our object? The prizes. The prizes. Then modal verb is will. Then we use be. The prizes will be. Then third form of the verb distribute is distributed by the chairman. See the another example. The school management will probably reconsider this decision. So what is our object? This decision. Then we use modal verb, that is will. Probably. Then what we have to use? Be. Then third form of the verb reconsider is reconsidered by the school management. So correct formation is this decision will probably be reconsidered by the school management. Discuss continuous tenses. Very first we take present continuous tense. And you know present continuous tense is also called present progressive tense. And this tense is used to describe an ongoing activity or a temporary action. In this sentence, the formation in active voice is we use am, is, are as a helping verb, then first form of the verb plus ing. And while changing into passive voice, what we do? We use am, is, are as a helping verb, then being, being, then third form of the verb plus by plus subject. See the example. The students are learning Spanish. So while changing into passive voice, what we have to do? Yes, we have to put the object in place of subject. So what we write? Spanish, then is, then what we use? Being, being, third form of the verb. Learning is learnt by the student. So the correct formation is Spanish is being learnt by the students. Now see the another example. The government is building a bridge. Change into passive voice. Yes, a bridge is, then what we use? Being, third form of the verb build is built by the government. Correct formation is a bridge is being built by the government. See the another tense, that is past continuous tense. And past continuous tense is also called the past progressive tense. And this tense is used to indicate an ongoing action in the past or an action continuing through a specific past time. And in active voice, the formation of this tense will be was and were as a helping verb, then first form of the verb plus ing. While changing into passive voice, what we use? Was, were as a helping verb, then being, being, then third form of the verb, then by, then subject. See the examples. Our team was playing many matches. How do we change it into passive voice? Yes, first we will put the object in place of subject. So many matches, then helping verb were. Yes, then what we use? Being, then third form of the verb, that is played by our team. So the correct formation, many matches were being played by a team. See the another sentence. They were observing a new comet. Now you change it. Yes. A new comet. Then helping verb was. Then we use being, being. Third form of the verb, that is observed by them. So the correct formation is a new comet was being observed by them. Now the future continuous tense and future continuous tense, no passive voice. Now we will do practice with these sentences and you will give me the answer. Means these are the sentences which are in active voice. You have to change them into passive voice. We will discuss perfect tense. Very first we will take present perfect tense. I want to tell you where do we use present perfect tense. Present perfect tense is used to describe an action occurring in the past but relevant to the present or extending to the present. See the example. In active voice, formation will be very first we will put the subject, then has or have as a helping verb, then third form of the verb, then rest part of the sentence. While changing into passive voice, the formation will be like this. We will use has, have, plus been, plus verb third form, plus by, plus subject. Now see the examples. Very first, the sentence is in active voice. They have played a match. While changing into passive, what do we write? A match. Then we use helping verb, that is has. Then we use been. A match has been played by them. See the another example. The school has organized many programs. We'll start it. Many programs have been organized by the school. Now we will take past perfect tense. Past perfect tense is used to show that something happened before another action in the past, and this tense can also be used to show that something happened before a specific time in the past. The formation in the active voice will be subject plus had plus third form of the verb plus rest part of the sentence. Let me tell you that we use had as a helping verb with both the subjects, means whether the subject is singular or the plural. The formation in the passive voice will be had plus been plus third form of the verb plus by plus subject. Now see the example. The brave men had defended the city. While changing into passive voice, very first we will see the object. We will start with the city had, then we use been. The city had been defended by the brave men. See the another example. The little girl had broken the window. The window had been broken by the little girl. Now we will talk about the future perfect tense. Future perfect tense is used to indicate a future action expected to be completed before another future action. The formation of active voice will be subject, will have, plus verbs third form. And while changing into passive voice, what will be the formation? Will have plus been plus third form of the verb plus by plus subject. See the examples. The painter will have made the picture. We will start with the object. The picture will have been, third form of the verb, made by the painter. See the another example. My father will have written a letter. We will start with a letter. A letter will have been written by my father. Now we will do the practice. So you have to change the given sentences into passive voice. Interrogative sentences. Let me tell you first, interrogative sentences are of two types. First, yes or no types. questions and second WH types questions. Very first, we will talk about the yes or no type questions. Yes or no type questions start with helping verb. To make passive from interrogative active voice, you should understand the following rules. Rule number 1. If any interrogative sentence starts from do, does or did, while changing into passive voice, we should use is, am, are, was and were according to the number and the person of object. See the example. Does he help you? So while changing into passive voice, very first we will put the verb, helping verb according to the object. So we will use here are you. Then third form of the verb, helped by him. Correct formation is are you helped by him. Then see the another sentence. Did he do this work? Here you have to identify the tense, and this sentence is expressing the past tense. So what do we use? Was. Yes. Was this work done by you? Rule number 2. When the interrogative sentence starts from is, am, are and was and were, then we should use being after the subject and is, am, are, was and were in the beginning of the sentence. See the example. Are you doing this work? So we will put the helping verb according to the object. Is, then object is this work, is this work, then we will use being done by you. Another sentence. Was she reading a novel? Was, then we will put the object a novel, then we use being read by her. Rule number 3. When the interrogative sentence starts from has, have or had, then we should use be and been after the subject and has, have, had in the starting of the sentence. See the example. Has he helped you? So we will put helping verb very first according to the object. So we will write have you, then we use been. Have you been helped by him? See the another sentence. Had he finished the work? So very first we will put the helping verb, that is had. Had the work been finished by him? And one thing more, had we use along with both the subjects, whether the subject is singular or the plural. Rule number 4. When the interrogative sentence starts from shall, will or can, then we should use be after the new subject and shall, will and can in the starting of the sentence. See the example. Can he do this work? While changing into passive voice, very first we will put the verb, that is can this work, then we will use be. Can this work be done by him? Another sentence. Will you teach the children? Will the children, then we use be taught by you. So correct formation is will the children be taught by you. Now we will talk about the WH type questions. When the interrogative sentence starts with why, when, how, then we should use them in the starting of the sentence, and who will be replaced by whom. See the example. Who has done this work? So who will convert into by whom. We will start with by whom, then we put the helping verb, by whom has this work been done. See the another example. When did you do this work? So very first we will put the WH word, that is when. When, then we use the helping verb. So this is the past tense. So what helping verb will come? When was this work done by you? Now children, we will do the practice with these examples. You have to convert these sentences into passive voice.